I'll never forget the night my world turned upside down. It was supposed to be the start of something beautiful, a new chapter with my boyfriend Lucas and our little girl Emma. One phone call changed everything, revealing a truth so raw it still stings to think about. I'm Scarlett, and this is the story of how I learned the man I loved was hiding a devastating secret. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with all our latest stories. Your support means the world. If you find this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. I'd also love to connect with you. Drop a comment below with your city. I'm curious where everyone's tuning in from. Now, let's dive into the story. 3 years ago, Lucas swept into my life like a summer storm, charming, intense, and impossible to ignore. We met at a friend's barbecue, his easy laugh cutting through the chatter. I was 26, working as a graphic designer in our sleepy little town, content but craving something bigger. Lucas, with his big city dreams and quiet confidence, felt like the spark I'd been missing. Fast forward to now, I'm 29 and we've built a life together, or so I thought. We have Emma, our 2-year-old daughter, with her messy curls and giggle that lights up my days. She wasn't planned, and when I found out I was pregnant, Lucas froze. His face went pale and he stammered something about not being ready. I stood my ground, told him I'd raise her with or without him. I didn't need his money or his promises, just my daughter. To his credit, he stayed. Over time, he warmed to fatherhood, changing diapers and singing lullabies with a tenderness that made me believe we were solid. This move was our next big step. Lucas landed a job as a software engineer in Seattle, a city buzzing with possibility. We'd spent months planning, packing boxes, researching neighborhoods, dreaming of rainy walks with Emma in a stroller. Our small-town life felt too tight, like a sweater I'd outgrown. Seattle promised space to grow, a fresh start. I'd already lined up freelance clients, excited to rebuild my career while Lucas climbed the corporate ladder. Emma would have parks, museums, a whole world to explore. Every night, we'd lie in bed, scrolling through apartment listings, laughing about whether we'd get a place with a view or just a sliver of skyline. It felt right, like we were finally on the same page. The night before the move, I was at our apartment, surrounded by cardboard boxes and the faint smell of packing tape. Emma was asleep in her crib, her tiny hand clutching a stuffed bunny. Lucas was crashing at his best friend Mason's place a few blocks away, a silly tradition we'd agreed on to make the morning's departure feel special. We'd meet at dawn, load the moving truck, and drive into our future. My phone buzzed around 9 p.m., Lucas's name lighting up the screen. His voice was warm, like a blanket on a chilly night. "Hey, babe," he said. "Just checking in. Emma good?" I smiled, picturing his crooked grin. "She's out like a light. Miss you already." We talked about the drive, the new coffee shop he'd found near his office, how we'd celebrate with pizza once we unpacked. His words were soft, full of promise. "I love you, Scarlett. Can't wait for tomorrow." My heart swelled. "Love you too," I whispered. We said goodnight, and I waited for the call to end, ready to curl up with my thoughts of what lay ahead. But the line didn't go dead. A faint rustle came through, like Lucas had set the phone down without hanging up. I froze, my thumb hovering over the end call button. Then I heard voices. Lucas and Mason, low and muffled at first. Curiosity tugged at me. I pressed the phone closer, my pulse quickening. Mason's voice cut through, sharp and direct. "You were just on with Scarlett, huh? You still sure about all this?" Lucas's reply was quieter, tinged with something heavy. "Yeah, man. I don't know." My stomach twisted. His tone wasn't the one I'd just heard, full of warmth. It was distant, almost bitter. I should have hung up right then, but I didn't. I stayed on, listening as the man I loved began to unravel everything I thought we had. Mason pushed harder. "Come on, you've been dodging this forever. You really gonna go through with it?" Lucas sighed, a sound I knew too well. Frustration, like when he was stuck on a coding problem. "What choice do I have? She's got her heart set on this. Emma, too. My breath caught. Emma? What did he mean? I leaned against the kitchen counter, the room suddenly too small. Their voices grew clearer, each word slicing deeper. I didn't know it yet, but I was about to hear something that would shatter the life I'd built with Lucas. And there was no going back. My heart pounded against my ribs, the phone trembling in my grip. Lucas's voice, usually so steady, carried a weight I'd never heard before. "It's not like I wanted this, Mason," he said, each word sharp, like he was spitting out something bitter. "Scarlett made it clear. She was keeping Emma, no matter what. I didn't get a say." I froze, the kitchen fading around me. Didn't get a say? I'd given him every chance to walk away. Told him I'd handle motherhood alone if he wasn't ready. His words stung, rewriting our past in a way I couldn't recognize. Mason's laugh was low, almost mocking. "So you're just gonna keep playing house? Man, you're moving across the country with her. That's not just playing." Lucas groaned, and I heard the creak of a chair like he was slumping into it. I know, but what am I supposed to do? She's got this whole life planned. Seattle, Emma, the works. If I back out now, I lose her. I lose everything." My breath hitched. Lose me? Was that what this was about? Fear? Not love? I pressed the phone harder against my ear, desperate for him to take it back, to say something that would make this make sense. He didn't. Instead, his voice dropped lower, laced with resentment. "She pushed me into this, Mason. Fatherhood, the move, all of it. I wasn't ready for a kid. Still aren't. But Scarlett? She didn't care. It was her way or nothing." My eyes burned, tears threatening to spill. I wanted to scream, to tell him I'd never forced him to stay, that I'd loved him enough to let him go. But I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The man I'd built a life with sounded like a stranger, unraveling 3 years of trust with every word. Mason wasn't letting up. "Then why go through with it? You're packing up your life for a woman you're lying to. That's not fair to her, or Emma." Lucas snapped back, his voice rising. "Fair? Nobody's asking what's fair to me. I'm stuck, man. If I tell her the truth, she'll take Emma and run. I can't let that happen." My stomach churned. Stuck? The truth? What truth was he hiding? I clutched the counter, my knuckles whitening. Emma's bunny lay on the floor nearby, a cruel reminder of the life I thought we shared. Then came the blow that stole my breath entirely. Lucas's voice softened, but not with warmth, with calculation. "I'll go to Seattle, play along for a bit. Then I'll figure it out. I've got a plan, something to get me out of this without losing everything." A plan? My mind raced, piecing together his words like a puzzle I didn't want to solve. Was he talking about leaving us, starting over? My chest tightened, panic clawing at me. I wanted to hang up, to pretend I'd never heard this, but my hand wouldn't move. Mason sounded skeptical. "A plan? Like what, dude? You can't just ditch them in a new city." Lucas laughed, but it was hollow, bitter. "I'm not ditching them. I just need time. I'll make it work, keep her happy till I sort things out. She doesn't need to know." My tears fell then, silent and hot, splashing onto the counter. Keep me happy? Like I was some obligation, a box to check while he schemed behind my back. The phone felt like a lifeline and a betrayal all at once, tethering me to a conversation I wished I could unhear. I don't know how long I stood there, the call still live, their voices fading into murmurs as they moved to another room. My legs shook, but I couldn't sit, couldn't think straight. Lucas's words looped in my head: pushed, trapped, plan. Each one carved a deeper wound, exposing a truth I'd been too blind to see. He wasn't the partner I thought he was. He was acting, playing a role to avoid losing... what? Me? Emma? Or something else entirely? I glanced at Emma's room, her soft snores carrying through the monitor. She was my anchor, my reason to keep going. But right then I felt unmoored, like the ground had vanished beneath me. I didn't know what Lucas's plan was, but I knew one thing. I couldn't trust him anymore. My fingers hovered over the end call button, but I didn't press it. Not yet. I needed to know more, needed to understand how deep this lie went. What was he planning in Seattle? And how could I protect Emma and myself from whatever came next? The phone call burned in my mind, Lucas's words replaying like a cruel song I couldn't mute. I barely slept, my eyes fixed on the ceiling as Emma's soft breaths filled the silence. By 4 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I needed answers, something to make sense of the betrayal I'd overheard. Lucas's sister Hannah had always been straight with me, so I grabbed my phone and dialed her, keeping my voice steady. "Hey, just checking in," I said, forcing a smile she couldn't see. "Lucas doing okay at Mason's?" Hannah hesitated, then sighed. "He's been weird, Scarlett. Keeps venting to Mason about wanting to start fresh in Seattle. I thought you knew." My heart sank. Start fresh? Without us? I mumbled a thanks and hung up, my hands shaking. Hannah's slip confirmed it. Lucas was hiding more than I'd feared. I couldn't wait another second. I scooped Emma from her crib, her sleepy weight grounding me as I strapped her into the car seat. The streets were dark, the town asleep, but my pulse raced like I was running from something. Mason's place was only a few blocks away, and I pulled up just as dawn broke, painting the sky a cold gray. I left Emma sleeping in the car, cracking the window and locking the doors, my eyes never leaving her. I marched to the front door and knocked, hard. Lucas answered, bleary-eyed, his hair a mess. "Scarlett, what's wrong?" His concern looked real, but I knew better now. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low, sharp. He stepped outside, glancing back like he didn't want Mason to hear. I didn't waste time. "I heard you last night, Lucas. On the phone with Mason. You said you're trapped, that I pushed you into this life. What's the plan you're hiding?" His face drained of color, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. You weren't supposed to hear that," he stammered, rubbing his neck. "It's not what you think." I stepped closer, my anger flaring. "Then tell me what it is, because it sounds like you're lying to me, to Emma, about everything." He looked away, the guilt in his eyes louder than any words. "I didn't mean it like that," he started. "I love you, Scarlett. I do. But this move, Emma, it's a lot. I got scared, okay? I didn't want to lose you, so I kept going along." "Going along?" My chest tightened, his words slicing deeper than I expected. "So you've been pretending? For how long?" I demanded. He flinched, his voice dropping. "Since Emma. I wasn't ready to be a dad. You were so sure, and I didn't want to let you down. I thought I could handle it, make it work." I laughed, bitter and raw. "Handle it? Lucas, she's our daughter, not a project you fake your way through." My voice cracked, and I hated how much it hurt. I'd believed in us, in him, and now it was crumbling. Before he could answer, Mason appeared at the door, his jaw tight. "What's going on out here?" he asked, his eyes darting between us. I turned on him, my fury spilling over. "You know exactly what's going on. You've been pushing him to lie to me." Mason's brows shot up, but he didn't deny it. Instead, he sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. "Look, Scarlett, Lucas was freaking out. I just told him to be real with himself." Then he dropped the bomb. "He got an offer, a job in London. 6 months from now, he was gonna take it, figure out how to tell you later." My knees buckled, the air sucked out of me. London? Across the world, away from me and Emma? Lucas spun on Mason, his face red. "Why would you say that?" he shouted. Mason shrugged, unapologetic. "She deserves the truth, man." I stared at Lucas, waiting for him to deny it, to say it was a mistake. He didn't. His silence was deafening, his eyes locked on the ground. "Is it true?" I whispered, my voice barely holding. He nodded, slow and heavy. "I wasn't going to leave you, Scarlett. I just needed an out, a way to breathe. I thought I could fix it later." "Fix it?" My daughter and I weren't a problem to solve. I backed away, tears blurring my vision. You were gonna abandon us, I said, the words tasting like ash. After everything. I turned to the car, my hands shaking as I unlocked it. Emma stirred, her tiny face peaceful, oblivious to the storm around her. Lucas called after me, his voice desperate. Scarlett, wait! I can explain! But I didn't look back. I slid into the driver's seat, my heart pounding, and drove away, the rearview mirror showing Lucas standing alone, shrinking smaller with every second. I didn't know where I was going, just that I had to protect Emma, protect myself. Lucas's betrayal wasn't just a lie, it was a plan to erase us. I gripped the wheel tighter, my resolve hardening. Whatever came next, I'd face it without him. The motel room smelled of stale coffee and bleach, but it was a refuge. Emma napped on the lumpy bed, her bunny tucked under her arm while I sat by the window, staring at the parking lot. Lucas's confession, his plan to flee to London, played on a loop in my head. I'd driven away from Mason's house at dawn, my heart in pieces, and checked in here to escape. My phone buzzed with Lucas's calls, but I silenced them, my thumb hovering over the block button. I needed space, time to breathe without his voice pulling me back. Emma stirred, murmuring in her sleep, and I brushed a curl from her face. She was my anchor, the reason I wouldn't crumble. By noon, I called Chloe, my best friend since high school. Her voice was a lifeline, steady and fierce. Scarlett, get over here, she said. You and Emma can stay with me. I hesitated, pride prickling, but the thought of facing this alone was worse. I packed our things, kissed Emma's forehead, and drove to Chloe's cozy apartment across town. She met us at the door, pulling me into a hug before I could speak. You're safe here, she whispered, and I nodded, swallowing tears. Over tea, I spilled everything. Lucas's lies, the London job, Mason's betrayal. Chloe's eyes blazed. He doesn't deserve you or Emma. Focus on what's next, not him. Her words lit a spark in me. I blocked Lucas and Mason, cutting their access to my world. My phone felt lighter, like I'd shed a weight. Days blurred into a week. Chloe's guest room became our haven, Emma's laughter filling the space as she played with blocks on the rug. I threw myself into routine, freelance deadlines, bedtime stories, anything to keep the hurt at bay. But late at night, doubt crept in. Emma deserved a dad, didn't she? Could I trust Lucas's desperation to be real? Then, on the 8th day, he showed up at Chloe's, his face haggard, eyes pleading. Scarlett, please, he said through the screen door. I need to talk. Chloe hovered behind me, ready to intervene, but I stepped outside, arms crossed. 5 minutes, I said, my voice cold. He paced, hands in his pockets. I messed up, okay? I love you and Emma. I got scared and Mason, he kept pushing me, saying I'd be better off alone. I didn't mean it. His words tumbled out, frantic, but they felt hollow, rehearsed. Scared? I snapped. You were gonna leave us, Lucas, across an ocean. He flinched, looking away. It wasn't set in stone, I panicked. Let me make this right. I wanted to believe him, for Emma's sake, but his eyes darted, like he was hiding something still. Why now? I pressed. Why fight for us after lying so long? He opened his mouth, but no answer came, just silence that said too much. I went back inside, my hands shaking, and found Lucas's phone on the counter. He'd left it after begging to use the bathroom. Curiosity won. I swiped it open, his passcode unchanged from months ago. Texts from Mason glowed on the screen, sent days before. Tell her what she wants to hear, man. Get her back, then take the job. Another. She's holding you back. London's your shot. My blood boiled. Mason hadn't just encouraged Lucas. He'd orchestrated it, feeding his doubts like poison. I gripped the phone, my anger shifting from Lucas to the man who'd played puppet master. I didn't think twice. I called Mason, my voice steel. You think you can manipulate Lucas into ditching us? I said the second he picked up. "I saw your texts. You're done meddling in my life." He stammered, caught off guard. "Scarlett, I was just looking out for him." "No," I cut him off. "You wanted him to run, to leave me and Emma like we're nothing. Stay out of this, Mason, or I'll make sure everyone knows what you did." I hung up, my heart racing, adrenaline surging. Confronting him felt like reclaiming a piece of myself, a spark of the Scarlett who didn't back down. Back in the guest room, Emma toddled over, holding out her bunny. I scooped her up, burying my face in her hair. Lucas's pleas echoed, but Mason's texts burned brighter. They'd both betrayed me, each in their own way. I wasn't sure what Lucas wanted, redemption, control, or just to ease his guilt. But I knew one thing. I couldn't let him near Emma until I understood his game. Chloe peeked in, her smile soft. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded, holding Emma tighter. "Getting there," I said. But as I rocked my daughter, a new fear gnawed at me. Lucas wasn't done fighting, and I didn't know how far he'd go to win. Emma's crayons scattered across the kitchen table, her tiny hands scribbling a rainbow mess. Our new apartment smelled of fresh paint, a small but bright space just a mile from Chloe's. It wasn't Seattle, but it was ours. 3 weeks had passed since I'd confronted Mason, and I'd spent them building a life Lucas couldn't touch. My laptop hummed with freelance projects, and Emma's giggles filled the gaps where doubt used to live. But when Lucas texted, asking to meet one last time, I agreed. Not for him, for Emma. She deserved a father, even if I couldn't trust him as a partner. We met at a park, neutral ground, with Emma chasing bubbles nearby. Lucas looked different. His usual confidence dimmed, eyes shadowed. "I cut Mason off," he said, hands stuffed in his jacket. "He was toxic, Scarlett. I see that now." I nodded, wary, watching Emma twirl in the grass. "And the London job?" I asked, my voice steady. He sighed, kicking a pebble. "I turned it down. I want to be here for Emma. Not you and me, just her." His honesty caught me off guard, raw and unpolished. I studied him, searching for the lie, but found only resignation. "Supervised visits," I said firmly. "No promises beyond that." He nodded, a flicker of relief crossing his face. "That's enough." I could have left it there, a clean line drawn. But days later, Chloe called, her voice tight. "Scarlett, you need to see this. You need to—" She sent screenshots from a mutual friends group chat. Mason's words, vicious and bold, claiming I'd lost it, that I'd driven Lucas away with my drama. He'd painted me as unhinged, a single mom spiraling out of control. My hands shook, fury rising like a tide. He'd tried to ruin me once by pushing Lucas to leave. Now he was attacking my name. I wasn't letting him win. I opened my laptop, fingers flying as I typed a post for our town's online forum where everyone from baristas to neighbors lurked. "Mason's been spreading lies about me," I wrote, laying out his role in Lucas's betrayal, the texts, the manipulation. I hit send, my heart pounding, and watched the likes pour in. Friends, co-workers, even strangers rallying behind me. The fallout was swift. Chloe texted me updates. Mason's boss had seen the post and whispers of his unprofessional behavior were spreading. I didn't gloat, but I felt lighter, like I'd reclaimed my voice. My parents drove up that weekend, bringing homemade lasagna and hugs that anchored me. Mom squeezed my hand. "You're stronger than you know," she said, and for the first time, I believed her. I started therapy, a quiet hour each week to untangle the hurt Lucas left behind. Emma kept me grounded, her bedtime stories a reminder that love didn't have to hurt. Months later, I sat at my desk, Emma asleep in her new room adorned with glow-in-the-dark stars. Lucas had stuck to our deal, weekly visits at the park, always supervised by Chloe or my mom. He was trying, and I let him, but my heart stayed locked. Then there was Ethan, a co-worker from my latest project. He'd caught my eye with his dry humor and gentle way of asking about Emma without pushing. One coffee date turned into two, then a walk through the farmer's market, his hand brushing mine as we laughed over burnt kettle corn. I wasn't ready to dive in, but his patience felt like a promise I could trust. I leaned back, glancing at a photo of Emma and me taped to the fridge, her smile wide, mine real. Mason's lies had faded, drowned out by the support of people who saw me for me. Lucas was a shadow, not a storm. I'd built this life, piece by piece, and it was enough. More than enough. Ethan texted, asking if I'd join him for a movie next week. I smiled, typing a quick, maybe. For the first time in months, maybe felt like a door opening, not a trap. Emma and I were whole, and whatever came next, we'd face it together.